Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Jasura Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Jasura Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamunatira Banachari. Jamunatira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jasura Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Jasura Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamunatira Banachari. Jamunatira Banachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Sri Radha Madhava ki jai, Sri Radha Giridhari ki jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Shodhara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Shodhara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya, BBT founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Samveda Bhakti ki jai. Go Premanandi, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories assembled devotees, all glories, Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Oh, that's not going to happen. 22:11. It's interesting because I drank everything earlier and now there's about that much in there. Maybe they always want me to drink too much. I have a drinking problem. I don't know. But definitely need some more water. Thank you. So this morning we read from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th Canto, Chapter 22, Text 4. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Pumsam Slagyatamam Manye Dandam Arhatamarpitam Yam Na Mata Pita Brata Surhidash Chadishanti Hi Pumsam Shlagyatamam Manye Dandamarhatam Arpitam Yamna Mata Pita Brata Suridas Chadishanti Pumsam Shlagyatamam Manye Dandam Arhatam Arpitam Yamna Mata Pita Brata Suridas Chadishanti Pumsa Shlagyatamam Manye Dandam Arhatam Arpitam Yamna Mata Pita Brata Suridas Chadishanti. Anyone like to chant? Ladies, anyone? Pumsam Slagavatam Manye Dandamaram Arpitam Yam Namata Pita Vrata Shvidas Chadishanti. Online?
Pumsam Slagyatamam Manye
Pumsam Slagyatamam Manye
Dandamarhatamarpitam
Dandamarhatarpitam
Jamnamata Pita Brata
Yamnamata Pita Brata
Suridash Chadishanti
Suridas Chadishanti. Pumsam of men, Slagyatamam, the most exalted, Manye, I consider, Dandam, punishment. Arhatama arpitam. Given by you, the Supreme Worshipable Lord. Yam, which, na, neither. Is it neither or neither? Either, okay. Mata, mother. Pita, father. Brata, brother. Suhrida, friends. Cha, also. Adishanti, offer. He, indeed. Although a father, mother, brother, or friend may sometimes punish one as a well-wisher, they never punish their subordinate like this. But because you are the most worshipable Lord, I regard the punishment you have given me as most exalted. Purport. Punishment meted out by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is accepted by the devotee as the greatest mercy. Tate nukampam susikshamano bunjane vatmakridam vipakam hridvagvapuvi viditam namaste jivetayo mukti pade sadaya bhak. One who seeks your compassion and thus tolerates all kinds of adverse conditions due to the karma of his past deeds, who engages always in your devotional service with his mind, words, and body, and always offers obeisances to you, is certainly a bona fide candidate for liberation. 10th Canto, 14th Chapter, 8th Verse. A devotee knows that so-called punishment by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is only his favor to correct his devotee and bring him to the right path. Therefore, the punishment awarded by the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be compared to even the greatest benefit awarded by one's material father, mother, brother, or friend. Om Agyan Dimirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksudan Minitam Dena Taismai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Dena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swabadandikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Vanchaga patru bhasya kripa sindhu bevacha patidanam bhavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. So, by your blessings and prayers, I'll try to say a few words. Ramapati Prabhu, since you're the closest, could you open that door just to let some air in here? More air. Although a father, mother, brother, or friend may sometimes punish one as a well-wisher, they never punish their subordinate like this. But because you are the most worshipable Lord, I regard the punishment you have given me as most exalted. So there are going to be a few verses now, the same theme, so devotees can develop this theme. Is the basic principle of this material world suffering or enjoyment? What's your vote on that? Suffering? That's because you're older, right? If you're younger, what do you think? Let's party. Right then. But actually, you're right. You get the extra maha at breakfast. Okay. Tukalema sashvatam. The basic principle of this material world actually is suffering. And if one analyzes so-called enjoyment in the material world, it's just some relief for some time from the suffering. That's really all it is. An example is given that if you're carrying a burden here in Southern California, let's use the surfboard as an example. Right? Anyone who's been a surfer? Anyone here been a surfer? Suffer. Okay. Well, Bhajan Maharaj, when he gives this example, he's speaking from experience, growing up here in Laguna Beach. But they walk to the beach, they're carrying their surfboard, it gets a little heavy, so you're carrying it here, then you carry it there. You feel better for a while, but then it starts being, and then you put it on your head, and so we're just shifting the burden, but that shift we feel to be relief and happiness. So that's really material life. So if the basic principle of material life is suffering, how are we going to deal with it? That's a very important question. If the basic principle is suffering, how are we going to deal with that? Once we establish that, now that's a big step for people, because, as Dravida pointed out, party, like that. We all want to enjoy in the material world, and as long as that desire and, what do they call it? Asha, hope against hope, that there will be unending happiness for me if I just endeavor in the right way. That's materialistic society, that's materialism, that you just have to work hard, you just have to try to, that maybe come and like pull the, you didn't like what I was saying, you tell me to be quiet or something, you're walking right at me. That's material life. Everyone's trying to convince each other, no, just do this and do that and buy this and hear this and my advice and, right? Yes. Every year, because I was flying recently a few different places for weddings, and they have the bookstores at the airport, and they always have the rack out there, the newest reads, for your flight. And every year or two, it's always these new books by different people about, I call it self-help if you like, or business, or this or that. They're just what they call in the Bhagavatam, charvita charvananam, just chewing the chew. There's really nothing new in the book, because if you're familiar with these books, you read them and have to study them, and then it's a new name, and then they're just different angles of chewing the chew. Just like if, you know what that means, chewing the chew? Do you ever hear that expression? Examples given like a piece of gum or a sugar cane. You chew it and there's nothing really left anymore, so you take it out. Then you start thinking, well, let me try again. See if I can get a little something. So chewing the chew would be, you chew on the right side and you think, well, there's no more flavor, let me bring it to my left side. And I'll chew over there. And then there's nothing, and then you bring it back. You just keep trying and trying and trying, but there really isn't anything there. We're just chewing that which has already been chewed. So that's material life. Now, to stop all of that, there must be some great awakening. Now, Dravida Prabhu, do you have a microphone? Would you like to recite that verse, and maybe you have your own translation or a poem about serving the senses? An awakening of intelligence.
Kamadina. This is a verse spoken by Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami in the Madhya Lila when he's beginning his instructions on the practice of devotional service. Kamadinam katina katita parita tu nideshas tesham jata mahina kaduna nattapano prashantihi utrijaitan hadayatupate sampratam labdha buddhis tvamayata kshadunamabhayam mam niyung svatmadasye. In how many ways have I sought to obey the seductive demands of my wicked desires? They've shown me no mercy. Yet on I have gone shamelessly trying to quench lust's unquenchable fires. But now I'm rejecting these hellish desires, for my higher intelligence now has awoken. O Krishna, O shelter of fearlessness, please let me serve you with faith that will never be broken.
Okay. So when one receives the mercy of Krishna through the devotees, there's an awakening of one's intelligence, and he starts seeing the material world as it actually is. It is a place of suffering, and all our attempts for happiness will ultimately fail. And that's just the nature of the material world. And that's not the end of the story, though. Now, that's the end of the story. It's a pretty sad story, right? It's a tragedy, right? But actually, by giving up this pursuit and understanding there's a higher pursuit of real happiness, that's wonderful. So we're on that path. There's an awakening of intelligence. So in the pages of the Bhagavatam and all the scriptures, this is brought out. The material world is a place of suffering. We're all dealing with suffering. Every living entity is suffering. But here we're going to hear about the devotee's suffering, because even the devotee has to suffer. Anyone who has a material body, you have to suffer. Did you know that when you signed up for one? Yes. There's you get an instruction manual, and you open up, say, you have a human body, you're going to suffer, like that. Birth, death, disease, and old age, and then, what to do about it. That's Bhagavad Gita. That's the Bhagavad Gita. You get a little QR code there, Bhagavad Gita. If you want to get out of it, just scan this and read it. But the devotee's suffering is different, and that's what's coming up here in this prayers and the whole pastime of Bali Maharaj. And if we look through the pages of the Bhagavatam, it's one devotee after the next suffering. What kind of religion is this? Right? It's really one devotee from the very, very beginning of the Bhagavatam, Maharaj Parikshit. Wonderful devotee. Wonderful, the grandson of the Pandavas, and doing his duty very, very nicely. And then, if you want to use the expression, out of the blue, it's actually an arrangement of the Lord, but there's a pastime, and he's cursed. It seems like out of the ordinary that this would happen. Very out of the completely out of character, out of the ordinary, but he's cursed by a little Brahmin boy to die in 7 days, and he can even counteract that. Now, is anyone really quick with their device? The Bhagavatam, this is first canto, 19th chapter. Who wants to do this? 119, 14, 15, and 16. This is Parikshit Maharaj's realization. Just like here we're beginning some verses with Bali Maharaj's realization about how he's actually very, very happy that Krishna's put him into a suffering condition of life. In the material world, that's considered to be very unhealthy, that you're happy about suffering. You have to go get some antidepressants and all those kinds of things. Does anyone have those verses up? You want the microphone? The 14, 15, and 16, Maharaj Parikshit. Yeah. Just English, yeah.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the controller of both the transcendental and mundane worlds, has graciously overtaken me in the form of a Brahman's curse. Obviously, this is Parikshit speaking.
Yeah.
Due to my being too much attached to family life, the Lord, in order to save me, has appeared before me in such a way that only out of fear will I detach myself from the world. O Brahmins, just accept me as a completely surrendered soul, and let Mother Ganges, the representative of the Lord, also accept me in that way. For I have already taken the lotus feet of the Lord into my heart. Let the snake bird, or whatever magical thing the Brahmin created, bite me at once. I desire only that you all continue singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu. Again, offering obeisances unto all you Brahmins, I pray that if I should again take my birth in the material world, I will have complete attachment to the unlimited Lord Krishna, association with his devotees, and friendly relations with all living beings.
So, how exalted this consciousness is. There's all kinds of sufferings in this material world, but I think death, untimely death, is right up at the top, isn't it? You hear from time to time, friends and relatives and devotees and so on, you get that message, Prabhu, it's time to go, right? And as you get older, more and more people we know get that message and they have to deal with it. And we're going to get it too. And it doesn't really matter what age. You may get it. You may be the next one. You know, I come from a family of 5 siblings, and my youngest brother was the one who got the youngest in the family got the notice. 1997 he passed away. He was only 60. It's 20. What is that? Born 60, so it's 37. He was only 37 years old. Complications from brain cancer operation. So there's 5 of us. He was the youngest. He was the first to go. How's that? You know, thinking, oh, maybe one of the older ones. He was the nicest one too. You know, they say that, oh, the nice ones go first. Like they get them out of here. So we don't know when, but we're all going to get that notice, and we can just. You can imagine, if you like, what it's going to be, because it's going to happen. You might as well think about it. It says intelligent people think about things like this. Just like if you're renting a place, is it a good idea to think about things around the first of the month? Like when the rent's due? It's got a good idea to think about it. You got to pay the rent. So time is passing, and so many notices are there, and it's a good idea to think about it. So, in fact, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, an intelligent person has 4 things. Only 4, it's not a big list, 4 things, 1, 2, 3, 4, in the forefront of their mind. Ramapa, did you know what those 4 things are? Yeah, those are the four things we're supposed to keep. Forefront of the mind means you got to think about these things and find a solution, because it's happening. It's not going to happen, it is happening. So moving around here to the Bhagavatam, there we read about Maharaj Parikshit, and here we have Bali Maharaj. We can read a little bit more. We have the Pandavas. Look what they went through. Such great devotees of the Lord, and look what Krishna put them through. Gajendra, we read earlier in this 8th canto about Gajendra, we have Bali Maharaj. Two other personalities I was going to bring up, and the point is whoever's giving class tomorrow and the next day may use these devotees as examples or personalities. The Avanti Brahman, what he went through in his realizations. Now, does anyone want to reference another? Oh, we have Prahlad, yes. In fact, I'm going to have him speak a little bit. But 11th canto, who wants to look this up? 11th canto, 8th chapter, verses 38, 39, and 40. Who's going to? Govardhan, you got that? Yeah. Or is you do? 11, 8, 38. Yeah, you got a microphone? Because the realization about suffering in the material world and it being Krishna just helping us become detached from everything and turn us around, it can happen to anyone. Now, what Govardhan is going to read about is a prostitute who appears in the pages of the Bhagavatam. Her name's Pingala, and her realizations.
A person who has developed detachment can give up the bondage of material society, friendship, and love. And a person who undergoes great suffering gradually becomes, out of hopelessness, detached and indifferent to the material world. Thus, due to my great suffering, such detachment awoke in my heart. Yet how could I have undergone such merciful suffering if I were actually unfortunate? Therefore, I am in fact fortunate and have received the mercy of the Lord. He must somehow or other be pleased with me.
So this is Pingala's prostitute, this whole story there. But see, the consciousness of the devotees is, oh, I'm so fortunate that Krishna has sent me this suffering, because otherwise, how would I ever become detached? And Krishna is just so kind. So that's how in our personal lives we have to see suffering. Did you know that Krishna takes a personal interest in his devotees? He says, Samoham sarvabhuteshu in the Bhagavad Gita, that I'm equal to everyone, but he says, but my devotees, there's some special attention there, and that's only natural. Just like you may be a teacher and you like all the kids, but your own kids you like more. That's just natural. You can't blame someone for having more affection for their own children. So in the same way, Krishna is most affectionate towards devotees, and he takes a personal interest. So that means whatever is happening in our lives, the happiness, the distress, and everything, we see it as Krishna's taken a personal interest. And sometimes the suffering is actually regarded with more gratitude than the happiness, right? Just like if I said, you're such a nice devotee. Krishna's sending you to the heavenly planets. And more than 72 virgins will be there. Apsaras and everything. Just you can enjoy for a long, long, long time. You might think of that as being hell. Right? It's like, oh no, I don't want to go to heavenly planets. I'll just forget everything about Krishna. But a materialist will think, whoa, this is fantastic. This is exactly what I've been waiting for. So, but when we're put in a situation where we just don't feel any more enthusiasm for material life, and we want to take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, that's what we value the most. And so far, the few devotees we've quoted, that's what they're saying. Oh, we're so fortunate. Just like here, Bali Maharaj is saying, sometimes a father, mother, brother may punish us, to help us out, keep us on the straight and narrow or whatever. But this punishment of the Lord is so much more valuable, because Bali Maharaj his position, of course, he's in control of the universe. Now, that's something to get attached to. He took over Indra's abode. I mean, talk about something to get attached to. You know, it's one thing if you have a little thing, something small like that. We all have to carve out a little apartment and a car and a this and a that and some money and a little family and so on. But he's in. Yeah, let me keep my cell phone. But he's, you know, and how will he give that up? How will he give that up? Because the more material facility we have, the tendencies become more and more attached. It's like weights. The second count of the Bhagavatam is compared to like a big turban, like a big weight. Just like many of these, unfortunately, and I always hear about ladies doing this. When the Titanic was going down, everyone was told to leave their jewelry and everything, and so many ladies were very, very wealthy ladies, just packed their bodies with diamonds. Because they had all these diamonds. They were like, you know, some of the most wealthiest, you know, wives of business magnates and all that. And they didn't listen. And when they went overboard, those just made them sink a lot faster. They didn't listen. You know, they just wouldn't listen. So the more we have in the material world, the tendency is it burdens us and makes us sink deeper very, very quick. So a devotee is very, very happy that, Krishna, you're so kind. On my own, I would have never given these things up. Just like Srila Prabhupada about his sannyas, right? He says, so thankful, Krishna, you just ended my material world. What is that? Anugaranami? Yasyaham Anugaranami. Krishna shows his special mercy by taking everything away. So, Hare Krishna, if things are starting to be taken away from us, quickly. They're taken away slowly, at least. It's all being taken away. Name one thing that you are going to have when you leave this body. Any material possession at all? Nothing. I gave that example in class, that the saying in German that Shivananda taught me. I don't know the German, but the dead have no pockets. There's a saying in Germany. The dead have no pockets. So nothing we have we're going to take with us. It's all going to be taken away today or tomorrow. So, you know, gradually. Right.
Like gradually take everything away.
Right. That gradual could be different things, though, like gradually in 5 minutes or gradually in 5 years or what, you know. So, but Krishna will take everything away. And that's his kindness for the devotee who has trouble letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go. That's Krishna's kindness. Because all of these things are just keeping us in the material world. And Krishna is so kind, he wants to take us out, bring us back home, back to Godhead. It's not a punishment. 825. And there's the word didactic, to teach a lesson. The story of Job in the Bible. Now, that story of Job, I think, is just a story. Because you know how it starts? It's about a person who suffered so much and started blaming God, and God finally came to him and told him, set him straight. But the story begins with a conversation between Satan and God. You know, because Satan is an imaginary personality, as far as we're concerned. God has no competitor. But, you know, it starts out with a conversation. Satan says, you know this Job? He's a really nice devotee of yours, but I think he's only a devotee because he's very, very prosperous and happy, big family, and everything's going great. Therefore, he likes you. But how about if I take everything away? I guarantee he's not going to like you anymore. In other words, he's a fair weather friend. You know, this one class True is given. He's talking about different kinds of faith. There's 911 faith. That means only when there's a problem do you call out for God, right? Just like when do you dial 911? You got a serious situation. 911. All right, so there's 911 faith. There's all these, and the Happy Days. Now, Happy Days may be before your time. It was a show back in the 70s, set in the 50s, and everything was just fine. You know, I forget the characters and all that, but Happy Days. You can just imagine. Happy Days, everything just fine, the 50s and so on like that. So that kind of faith where as long as everything's going well, I believe in God. God's wonderful. He's my, right? But how about when things start going bad? Okay? So Job, God says, no, that won't happen. He loves me. He's he's a devotee and everything. You go ahead. You test him. And long story short, because it's a whole book, the book of Job, the devil takes everything away. I mean, I didn't read the full thing, but he loses family and wealth and his crops and whatever he had, he took it away. Okay? And there's all these different conversations with him and different friends trying to understand that. And he himself is trying to reconcile, wait a second, I've always been a very good devotee, pious man. Why is this happening to me? Why am I suffering so much? I mean, everything is taken away from me. And his friends are saying different things like, well, maybe there isn't a God, or maybe God's mad at you for you did something, and it's all these different things. The problem is they don't believe in karma. Karma's been taken out of the Bible, so there's no rational explanation. In fact, the story itself begins kind of a ridiculous, we would say, conversation between the Satan and God says, go ahead, test my devotee. Go ahead and test them, But that's the reason he's suffering. That's not the reason we're suffering. It's because the devil's got something out for us. But it comes to a point where God actually starts talking to him and tells him, the conclusion is, he says, wait a second, did you create the sun and the moon? And God is saying, the whole thing of this whole world is so much beyond your ability to comprehend and understand. The fact that you're suffering in this life, you have no comprehension. You should just have faith that I am taking care of everything. I'm moving the sun and the moon and all the seasons and everything and time, and I'm taking care of everything. Don't worry about it, And God says, sometimes there's good things in life and sometimes there's suffering in life, but it's all being moved by my hand, and you shouldn't worry about it. So that's kind of how the story ends. That's a good lesson. But why did he put him through it? Why did he, test the devil's words? But that's a very famous story in the Bible about Job and suffering and reaction to so much suffering. So I guess it'll be we'll all have our day. Is that what they say? Your day in the sun, your day in court, or whatever they call it. Is there some saying like that, different sayings? It will come. There'll be so much suffering, and then what are you going to think about it? What are we all going to think about it? We're going to think, Krishna, thank you so much for taking it all away. Or, Krishna, why are you doing this to me? I'm such a nice devotee. I shouldn't be suffering like this. So I'll leave you with that very, very heavy thought, and we'll go into any questions or comments. And there's so much more information. You're giving class tomorrow? You'll see it just keeps going, his verses, and more about this, how to reconcile and the devotees' feelings about their suffering. Balaram Prabhu.
When the example's given of like sugar cane or chewing gum or something, and then someone's they keep on chewing. I mean, from that perspective, practically we would consider almost everyone just like insane. Because if you're chewing something and there's like sugar cane, if there's nothing there and you just keep on chewing, it's just like a form of insanity. So from whose perspective is that? Are they seeing that? From a liberated soul, they're saying there's nothing there because people are engaged in a certain way and they feel that there's something there. Is that just a hallucination? Is there really something there? Or is it like from a liberated soul's perspective, it's just like sugarcane chewing? So maybe you could comment on that.
Well, I think it's from the perspective of there's different perspectives. Of course, the liberated soul or the devotee, because they have a higher taste, they're saying, you keep trying and then you stop and you keep trying the same thing, but you're never happy. You're never satisfied and you keep going back, keep going back, Bhogatiyag. But even the materialists, they become frustrated. They also become frustrated and wonder and what to do and trying to find happiness. So it's only the very, very foolish person, also a person who has nothing else. What are you going to do? If there's no other alternative, then you keep trying, right? If there's no alternative, How can you be blamed for not? If there's nothing more beyond eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Has anyone ever told you there's something beyond eating, sleeping, mating, and defending except, Hare Krishnas or spiritual people? People in general, they're not taught that at all. All you're taught in a materialistic society is eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and unlimited ways of trying to enjoy eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Just keep trying. But the point is these four things won't satisfy the soul. So therefore it's chewing the chewed. So the poor conditioned souls, they're left to suffer because they're not giving an alternative. So we have to give them an alternative. And then they can understand, yes, wait a second, this is all very, very inferior. And I try, then I try again, then I try again. I mean, the fact that we've had how many births in the material world, we're chewing the chewed. We were trying in a different body. Oh, we got a human body now. Well, what's your next body going to be? Do you ever wonder? You can go up, you can go down. Same thing, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Eating, sleeping, in very different ways, but it's the same thing. And we're never happy, and because we keep coming back for it, and just never happy. And then sooner or later there's an awakening of intelligence, the verse Dravida quoted in the beginning of the class. Also there's an awakening, wait a second, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, they're just not going to make me happy. It's like chewing the chewed, Hope that answers your question. Any other questions or comments? We should end here. Yes. Govardhan Das, Brahmachari.
This reminds me of when King Kshetraketu, he was cursed by Mother Parvati. So I just want to read the first and last of his words. Kshetraketu said, "My dear mother, with my own hands folded together, I accept the curse upon me. I do not mind the curse, for happiness and distress are given by the demigods as a result of one's past deeds. O mother, you are now unnecessarily angry, but since all my happiness and distress are destined by my past activities, I do not plead to be excused or relieved from your curse. Although what I have said is not wrong, please let whatever you think is wrong be pardoned."
Yes. And that was in my notes here also in that chapter, Lord Shiva, that's the famous verse about the Narayana Para, the great devotees of the Lord, and how they are api tulyartha darshina. They see it all as equal. Happiness and distress, great devotees of the Lord, they just see it as all equal. Like that. Yep. Yep. Great consciousness. Yes, Prabhu.
This question really isn't about the core part of your class, but just the kind of aside you mentioned at the end about, do you ever think about what your next birth is going to be? So we're told that by chanting Hare Krishna we're guaranteed a human birth. But we're also told that devotees can become or do become who fall down or fall into illicit activity. They become the hogs and monkeys, maybe just monkeys, but I think hogs also, in Vrindavan and so on.
Yeah.
So that seems to be an exception. But then would it be fair to suspect that also the living entities surrounding holy places or temples throughout the world can also be devotees who fell down into illicit activity, even like the rats and possums around our temple? Would it be reasonable to suspect that they're also fallen devotees and not just that everyone immediately takes a human birth?
Yes, yes. I mean, these trees out here, they have been there for decades, getting all kinds of prasadam thrown on them. Right? They are pious souls. They're hearing the kirtan all day long. Right? They attend the morning program better than many of us. Right? They're right there. They're on time. They cannot be not on time. Right? They're special souls. Anyone you see coming in contact with Krishna, they're a special soul. It's not ordinary. It's not an ordinary thing. And it may be the beginning, or it may be a continuation, but yes.
The statements about the monkeys and hogs in Vrindavan, I believe that the statement saying like the next birth, like from human birth, practicing devotional service, next birth, monkey in Vrindavan. Does that sound accurate? I could look it up
Isn't
again.
it that the hogs and dogs committed some kind of Dham aparad?
Oh, yeah, it's
That Dham aparad, and therefore, okay,
Yeah,
they committed kind of different sins in the Dhams. Okay, one, because usually if you're living in the Dham,
right.
next life you go back. They committed Dham aparad. So one life, snooting around with your nose there in the gutter of Vrindavan or whatever, or getting electrocuted as you jump from tree to tree and electrical, right? Sometimes devotees see monkeys, right? And they grab electrical lines, zap, back home, back to Godhead. That was the end of that monkey life. But that's what it usually is. That's what it usually is.
So following that logic then, well, I guess the question could be like, what level of Dham does it require? So do you think there's evidence or any statements suggesting that then a devotee in San Diego, like I could pass away and I've chanted Hare Krishna, and then I could take my next birth as like a possum on the property, because even though I don't get a human birth right away, and my very next birth could be.
Are you bonding with these possums?
No.
Or you think
I'm
maybe
just
you knew them
wondering,
in their
like,
last life
whatever
or
the animal
something?
is. But
I remember
the
you,
animal is.
Prabhu. Yeah, no,
It
yes,
seems that
Krishna.
It's not just human birth, no
Yes,
matter what.
all of
seems.
these are in
Yeah.
line with our philosophy.
Yeah.
Yes, this is New Govardhan Dham. Prabhupada said they're like embassies. The spiritual world, they're dhams. So the living entities around here and people who come here, there's Krishna's directing. It's not an ordinary thing at all. Not ordinary. Okay? So we can end here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.